Hi, I'm James Gill with Gill Nursery. We've got our first freeze of the year. It's not extreme, but it's going to be cold and there's going to be some damage. So I'm going to talk to you about how to minimize that. First, there are lots of plants that you don't need to spend time and effort covering. Roses, for example, Indian hawthorns, hollies, ligustrums, they will not be bothered by the cold at all. But there are some things that will suffer some damage, and you could choose to let some of those things just go through the freeze, suffer the damage, trim them back in February, and they'll grow back fine, or you can cover them. Things like shrimp plant, plumbago, ixoris, they will be damaged, but not killed unless they're in pots. And then there are a few things that are more sensitive than that, like Madagascar palms, for example, that could be killed, and so you do want to take your best measures, which could be bringing them inside, because you've probably got them in pots anyway. But then let's discuss how to cover. You don't want to lollipop a tree. You don't want to put a cover over the top and then tie it like that. Because what you're looking for is the heat that's radiating up from the ground to be trapped. So instead, you want to create a tent that goes over the top of your plants back down to the ground and then is anchored so the wind doesn't blow it away. You can use cinder blocks or bricks. Or another thing that I find works really well is to drain your garden hose and then wind it around and around and around on top of whatever cover. It can be bed sheets, it can be bedspread. Plastic sheet is really okay. Now the plastic sheet is going to burn the foliage wherever it touches, but that's no big deal. We have a product, Insulate, which is a synthetic blanket. It's great, lasts year after year, does a great job. It's made specifically for that purpose of covering plants and protecting them. If you've got tall potted plants, once again, wrapping this plant, the heat that's within here will be gone so fast. So instead, you need to water that plant to generate extra heat in the root zone. That water that's coming out of the hose is probably 50 degrees. That's way colder than 30 degrees. And it fills the pore spaces so that the cold air doesn't migrate in. Then you tip that palm over, or whatever type of plant that, if it's a ficus, tip it over so it's closer to the ground, so it's closer to this heat. This heat is not going to get up there, but it will get into here. And if you can cover it, again, then you've got this plant home free. It's safe. If you can't cover it, just putting it closer to the ground is going to give you some extra protection. So there could be lots more questions about, is this plant hardy or is it tender? Feel free to call us here at Gill Nursery, 361-992-9674. Best of luck. We'll see you on the other side of this little freeze.